Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Ex Machina. It's a movie starring Doomhall Gleeson, Alicia Vikander, and Oscar Isaac. And that's basically it. So, as always, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the furry. To start off with the furry, there isn't any. Moving on. So, this movie is definitely a slower movie and more of I'm going to say a philosophical movie in a good way. So with this movie, they present the interesting conundrum of how do you determine artificial intelligence or like actual sentience, I think is probably more applicable because, especially with today's AI, what is AI if it's just knowing, based on this input, what to respond here, but what actually constitutes sentience, what makes a person and not just a response mechanism, if you will. And I think that they do a really good job of delving into that and, puzzling through that and maybe not necessarily answering the question through their discussions, but posing the question in an interesting way. And I like that they address a whole bunch of different aspects of things that people might bring up in situations like this. And so the subject matter is one that I think interests me, and so seeing how this movie played out was definitely an interesting thing for me. And where it's at has beautiful cinematography because they're in the middle of absolutely nowhere, foresty, I don't know, Washington-y area. Just think of just the most beautiful Washington-y-ish, Oregon-y type forest. Less pine trees or spruce trees, but you know what I mean. And that's where this is shot, on this mansion in the middle of absolutely nowhere, because Oscar Isaac plays like maybe not a weirder, but a different kind of weird version of Bill Gates, if you will. Just, more money than he knows what to do with, billions, maybe trillions of dollars, who knows, and lives out in the middle of nowhere for security and to run these experiments. And Doomhall Gleeson is invited out there. And just imagine, if you will, you get flown into the middle of fucking nowhere, and you go, and there's this compound that lets you in, and then you just meet this guy, and he's alone in this compound, and you're in his house, and you're just like, this is my boss's boss, and this guy makes more money in a second than I do in 100 years, and we're just hanging out. So I like that they address the awkwardness of it. And Oscar Isaac does such a good job of, putting me at ease and making me tense at the same time. So I think that's the best way to describe it, that in this movie, he's a guy who wants you to be at ease, but has that switch that just like, no, fuck that, just we're doing this. Like, no, stop that. That's your fear talking. Let's talk about this. And then just how he is, he's just totally confident in, obviously it's his house, it's his domain, and seeing and talking with Doomhall Gleeson is just so interesting. And then Alicia Vikander is just awesome as the machine, and it's awesome seeing just how good she is with just the minutest of expressions and head angles, and just there's so much that could have gone wrong with this movie if you picked somebody who could not do the acting that she was able to do. So that was absolutely awesome. Also, doesn't hurt that she's really hot. And by the way, nudity in this movie, just throwing that out there. There's a little bit of it. If you're uncomfortable with that, move along. So yeah, I really like Doomhall Gleeson in this because of just he's just so natural. I don't know, he's just in every role that he does so well. I like seeing him in things because he kind of reminds me, at least in this movie, of like a Hugh Grant type thing, Notting Hill sort of thing. But it has that vibe, but he's not doing a Hugh Grant, and he's not trying to play it that way, but that immediately likableness of it is awesome. But they do also show off his intelligence in the movie, and I think that's really important for having somebody that's having these philosophical discussions about what is intelligence, what is AI, what is sentience, and they do it in such a natural way. And I think that is one of the great things is getting to know more about these characters as the movie goes on, and it flows in such a natural way. Also, the house that they're in is absolutely beautiful, so that works too. You can expect, especially if you've even just seen the cover image, that there will be CGI to like fill in some bits with the machine, and those all play wonderfully. It doesn't. I don't feel it distracts. I think it adds to, and at no point was there like a, ooh, that doesn't match up. That's off. All the CGI, such as it is, does work. The pacing, in my opinion, is great. It is not an action movie. Just throwing that out there in case you didn't get that already. Not an action movie, but I think that this is a much better exploration of AI that I've seen from some other movies' attempts at it, and so hopefully you give this movie a shot if that sort of philosophical thing works for you. If not, just understand you get to see Alicia Vikander and you get to see Oscar Isaac looking pretty dang buff. Just saying, he is always a win, so that's great. You know what? In fact, all three of these actors always a win in my opinion, so just throwing that out there. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments down below, or if you can think of a better movie that explores these same sort of discussion points, these same sort of like what is to be a thing type of movie, let me know in the comments down below. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.